And welcome, everybody. This is Games Over Plastic, episode number 6. I'm Midnight, and as always, I am joined by my two amazing co-hosts here. First of all, we have the man, the myth, the legend, the master, platinum trophy hunter, everyone's favorite member of Discord, Sean Mason. How you doing, bro? How's it going?
I'm doing great. That title actually does fit the Platinum Hunter, Master Platinum Trophy Hunter, because I did get a Platinum this week. I did. It took me about 3 days, about 20 hours. I had a lot of time on my hands to play this week, so I appreciate the gracious intro, as always.
Heck yeah. And then, of course, we have, last but not least, we have the master of graphics, the indie and live service gaming maestro, the man with a new home, Hodge.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. That's true. Last episode, which was 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how I might be moving down here for a job, and I got that offer and accepted it. And in this time, since last episode, I drove 4,000 miles because I also went up to northern Wisconsin to work on my parents' cabin with my dad. So I had no time to rest during these 2 weeks, and I was just driving a whole bunch. But yeah, I'm a Texas boy now, and if you're watching the video, part of getting my job, I had to shave my beard to you have to do a gas mask like fit test. You wear like a thing over your face, and if beard hair pushes, like it doesn't allow it to suction to your face. So I had to shave. And while I was in the plate, like she's like, "Oh yeah, we're not getting a good reading. You're gonna have to shave." I'm like, "Yeah, crap. If I'd known that, I would have shaved before I came here." So she gives me this really crappy razor and basically like a ketchup packet of shaving cream. She's like, "All right, go in the bathroom and do this." I was in there for 45 minutes just because if you watch the video, I had a pretty long beard, and hacking at that with a razor, it took so long and it was annoying. But yeah, my beard will be back. But so you guys get to enjoy seeing my face for probably this week and next week's episode. And then after that, I should have a beard again. But
Well, one positive on that is if the Last of Us outbreak happens within the next few weeks, you'll be all set.
Yeah, I'm fitted for my gas mask, so we're good.
Heck yeah. That's poor planning on their part. You think they would have told you ahead of time, like, hey, show up, shave before you come.
Yeah, you would think, but yeah, they didn't say anything.
Just like,
about that.
We'll just have this dude shave a Santa Claus beard here in the bathroom with the straight razor. Like,
yeah, it would have taken me 2 minutes at home with an electric, but no, they didn't tell me. So right now I'm rocking the season 1 Walter White mustache. But
all right, well, welcome to the greatest state in these United States, Texas, by far the best state in the country. No denying that, Sean. Stand down. I love Texas. It's the biggest state in the continental U.S., not counting Alaska, and it's beautiful. Great weather, as you'll know. Well, you're going to be working outside, so maybe the weather won't be as great for you.
Yeah, working in 120 degree heat and 150 degree attics. It's gonna be great.
I've never seen it hit 120 in the time that I've been here, but I have seen like 112, 113.
Yeah,
so
I hit the 110s last year.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Protect your skin. We already talked about that.
Oh, I'm a ginger. I'm well aware.
Yeah, my aunt had melanoma, and she fought it off, and she's beaten it several times. So she's instilled that into me. Like, you got to protect your skin for everyone out there listening. Not to you, Hodge. You already know, but protect your skin, guys. Wear sunscreen.
I bathe in SPF 100.
There you go. That's how to do it. All right. So that's it. This is episode number 6, as I mentioned. I am Midnight, the RPG and single player gamer. Yeah, I figured I never give myself an intro. I got to say something about myself. But let's go ahead and get into the administrative stuff. Of course, this is Games Over Plastic, the podcast for the agnostic gamers, real gamers, love of video games. No console warring over here. That's not what this is about. That's not what we do. The show goes up every other Monday. It's going to be available on all podcast services, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Everycast. It's also available on YouTube in full video glory. You get to see webcams and graphics and everything, and it's a good time. And that's over on its own dedicated YouTube channel, which is just Games Over Plastic. So just go to YouTube and search for Games Over Plastic. Or if you're listening to this, that means you're probably on a podcast service. If you don't have the video, it's right in the description. There's a convenient link right to the YouTube in the description on Spotify and Apple. So there you go. What else is going on here? As always, I like to say, if you're listening on YouTube, please go ahead and leave us a like It really helps us out a lot. Just that one simple click really will help the algorithm feed the video, and comments are really appreciated and help us as well. If you're listening on Apple and Spotify, we appreciate 5-star ratings. And anyway, that's enough shilling. So let's go ahead and get into some more fun topics, shall we? Let's get into, as we like to do, let's get into the non-gaming fun topics. For anybody listening, by the way, please feel free to take advantage of the timestamps. If you're not interested in a certain topic or you want to hear about a certain thing, in this episode, we're going to be talking about video game music, our love of that, the ones that really, stuck with us and, had an impact. Just use the timestamps to jump around. We don't mind. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into some non-gaming fun stuff. What do we want to see? Sean, what's going on with you? You got some stuff?
Yeah, so I was on school vacation this week, so we had the week off. Unfortunately, it flew by. Unfortunately, but there's only 40 days of school, 40 school days left. Exactly 8 weeks on Monday, so I'm pretty hyped about that. But I gotta, it was nice. I watched some anime, caught up on some manga. I was reading JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, just reading that. I watched this anime called Re:Zero or RE0 for some people who don't want to say Re. Pretty good anime.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Believe it or not, I don't watch a lot of anime, but that's one of the animes that I have saw.
The more we do this, the more I'm convinced you're a weeb. So
no, definitely not a weeb at all.
Because that's a pretty weeby anime. And then I watched a ton of sports, a ton of baseball. Basketball playoffs start today, actually, so I'm pretty hyped for the NBA playoffs. Yeah, just kind of relaxed and hung out. It was a staycation. It was nice. It was nice. And did a lot of gaming too, obviously.
Nice. We'll get into what games you're playing a little later. Yeah, so vacation, that's always great. Hodge, you've been on vacation as well. What's been up with you?
Been on about a month and a half long vacation, but I wasn't getting paid for it, so I'm happy it's almost over. But I've been just obviously I watched Fallout, which we will do a full episode about, so we don't really need to discuss that. Yeah, everyone's been watching Fallout. If you haven't, you're missing out. But we'll do a full episode about that. But after I finished that, I started Shogun because I've heard nothing but good things about that, and I'm about 5 episodes in. And when people were saying like it's kind of a Game of Thronesy show, they're not lying. It is a great show. But so I'm enjoying that. I'm going to catch up. I've heard it's gotten even better as it's gone on. So I think I'm 4 episodes behind. Yeah, I think I said I've watched through 5, but yeah, it's a really good show. But yeah, I'm excited to get back to work on Monday because your boy needs to make some money.
Gotta get that paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Shogun. That is a show that I'm interested in watching as well. I think I'll get to that at some point. Is it on Hulu?
Yeah, it's an FX show, so it's actually on Disney Plus too. It's Hulu, Disney Plus. Yeah, because Disney Plus added all like the Hulu stuff to it because I think they're trying to get subscribers there. So they've added a lot of just
pretty
FX
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure by the end of, I think by 2025, Hulu's not going to be. I think it's just going to be in Disney Plus by starting 2025.
Yeah, because they own all. Disney owns Hulu and ESPN, which is why they have that bundle where you could have all 3. So I have that bundle, but yeah, it's kind of pointless now with it all being in one thing. But yeah.
Well, that's good because I don't have the bundle, but I do have Disney Plus that I leech from a friend. So
yeah, so
I can watch it in Disney Plus.
You better be careful because they're cracking. They're doing the password thing in June, along with HBO.
Dude, I hate these. I hate these greedy companies. Just let us leech and share passwords. Like, damn.
I mean,
well, especially with them, they keep raising the prices. Like, it'd be one thing if it was still like $8 a month for Hulu, but it's like $17 a month now, and it's like, keep it at 8, and then maybe people will be okay with like paying for their own, or do like a $2 add-on for another account or something. Like, do something like that, but stop blocking all the passwords.
That's
still cheaper than cable, so I really don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
It is cheaper than cable, but once you add all of these streaming services, it's getting pretty damn close. If you
that's why you got to be picky and choosy about what you want. You don't have to subscribe to it all year. You can do a month here, a month there.
That's what I do. I cancel Netflix for a while until there's something I want to go back to and watch it, and then I cancel it again. And Hulu actually is ending for me this week, so I need to finish Shogun before it ends. But
I only have HBO and Amazon. That's it.
All
Yeah,
I have
Amazon I don't even count because
Amazon I don't
have it
count
anyway.
either. I mean,
Yeah, because you have
I
Prime.
use it for. I've had Amazon forever. It feels like.
Yeah.
yeah, all I have that I actually pay for myself is Prime, and then I leech Max and I leech Disney Plus. I used to leech Netflix, but after they cracked down, I haven't even tried since then. I don't even know if it's still possible. It probably is. I don't know.
I don't watch enough. Oh, I do have Crunchyroll as well, but I mean that doesn't count for me either. And I
Yeah,
have
it's like how
YouTube
I have
Premium.
YouTube Premium. I'm never getting rid of. It's way too
Yeah,
good.
I got a free trial. Like it was around 2 years ago. This time I got a free trial. Like, oh, I'll try the month, and then I'm like, oh, I can't go back now.
Yeah. Once you get rid of those ads, you can never go back.
Yeah, it's a necessity to have ad free YouTube, no doubt.
And being able to turn off your phone screen while it still plays, which
nice
used to
too.
be a feature that was just on YouTube, but then they put it behind a paywall.
Yes, sir. Let me go ahead and segue to what's been going on with me, which is somewhat related because I also started a new job on Monday, the day that this is going live. Thank you, Sean, for the time stamping. I got a promotion, as I think I mentioned. I got a promotion at work. I'm going to be making it's a 36% pay raise. I'm excited about that.
Damn.
Just barely keeping up with inflation, but
Yeah.
it's good. It's good. So I start this coming Monday. Be starting my new job. I'll be in training. I have to get my insurance license. That'll be the first couple weeks because I'm going to be doing like a property claims adjuster position at my job. So it's going to be pretty cool. The money is much better than what I was making. So I'm looking forward to that. I've been thinking about what I want to do with this extra money. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like the pay raise portion, like whatever it is, I'm going to split the difference. So half of that, I'm just going to like invest in stuff. Like, I don't know, like crypto, stocks, whatever. Just try to invest and see if I can do
invest
something.
in my gambling habits.
Yeah, Sean, I saw you were cashing out.
Yeah, no, I'm a pretty. I might have a live bet going right now. You never know.
I didn't know you were so big into the
That's my
gambling.
vice. That's my vice.
That's one thing that does suck about Texas, though, is they don't have legalized gambling yet. So in Iowa and Illinois, when I was living in those two states, I could use FanDuel, and I loved it. It's so much fun. Just to, even if you do like a $1 bet on something, it's just fun to kind of have wagers
$100
on
bet guy,
Yeah,
a high roller.
Sean,
All you gotta do is you hit one, you make all your money back after you lose 18 in a row. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing is, yeah, I've done a lot of that are like $10 bets to win 500, and last season I won 2 of them, so I came out on top by far. And I won $150 on the Super Bowl, which I spent on those Pulse Elites, and those things are awesome. But yeah, nice. I miss that's the one thing that sucks about me moving down here. I loved gambling during the NFL season.
It's my vice.
That does suck. Yeah, it's pretty lame. Some weird laws down here. This is the state of freedom, but they don't let you gamble. Like, what's up with that? But yeah, hopefully that'll change at some point. Yeah, or smoke weed. I don't do that, so I don't care. But you can still do it. In other news, and even greater news, even better than the promotion. Also, yesterday I went to the greatest place on earth, the most magical place of all time, and of course, folks, I am talking about Buc-ees. Buc-ees, the best place on earth. If you're watching the video version, guys, I'm gonna put a couple photos for those. I took some pics. I was like a kid in a candy store, literally. I was so excited. I really felt like a kid transported in there. I had to get a picture with Buc-ee, the mascot. Like
he's not always there, so you were lucky you found him.
He was there, and he's there for the kids. He's there to take pictures with the kids, pretty much. He was taking pictures with kids when I saw him. But me, grown-ass man, I had to get a picture with Buc-ee. I had to do it. So I did. I went up with Buc-ee. No shame. I was like, hey, let me get a picture with Buc-ee. So I got it. So if you're watching the video version, I'm going to put a couple photos up of my trip to Buc-ee's. That place was awesome. I dropped $130. I got 2 t-shirts. I got this Yeti-like mug here that you can see in the camera, which is pretty sick. I got back there, I got the little mascot. You can see right. I can't figure out how I'm pointing right there. See it on my thing? Yeah,
little Buc-ee up on
little cute ass Buc-ee the beaver stuffed animal. Again, grown ass man. Had to get it though. It's so adorable. Buc-ee the beaver. He's awesome. Sean, you want to say something?
You guys are obsessed with a beaver, yet you guys make fun of me for my weebish tendencies. Yet you're lavishing over a beaver. Maybe it's just the Northeast person in me. I do not understand this obsession with Buc-ees.
Bro, he's so cute. I'm talking about. Look at this.
Awesome.
It's Buc-ee.
And the food there is amazing.
Dude. Oh, yeah. So I got a bunch of food too. I got a whole bunch of stuff, which I haven't really ate all of it, but you'll see like in the photos, I took a picture of everything that I got. So Buc-ees is awesome. Had a great time. Of course. I knew it. Sean Mason, once again with the fire alarm. Go ahead and shut it off, bro. Oh, he's waiting to see if it's going to stop.
Did you get beaver nuggets while you were there?
Heck yeah. I got beaver nuggets.
Yes.
I got, they had grape cotton candy for some reason. I'd never heard it. So I got that.
I got that.
I got some of those roasted nuts that they got, the roasted nut sampler. I got a brisket sandwich. I got their apple pie. Their apple pie was delicious. If you've never had the apple pie, it's right next to the brisket. It's like $2, just a little apple pie. Get that.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal.
I've never got it because I just didn't want to get two things, but I need to get that.
The next time you go there, if you get like a brisket sandwich or something to eat, get the apple pie. It was so good. It was so fresh and like homemade tasting. And
I stopped at the one in Temple on my way into Austin, and I was like, I wasn't feeling a brisket sandwich or anything, because that's normally what I get. But so I was looking around. They had like a section with burritos and tacos. I'm like, oh, what? I went over there and I got a Philly cheesesteak burrito, and it was amazing.
Dude, I've heard that the breakfast burrito and stuff is amazing.
Oh, the breakfast food there is so good. Yeah, it's so good.
But anyways, I could go on and on. This could be a Buc-ees podcast. It's so great, dude. But dude, they're like busing people in. There was 2 buses that pulled up and all these people got out. This whole bus came out. These dudes were all wearing like black suits and black dresses. I don't know what they were coming from. They were like dressed up real nice. And they all got in front of the Buc-ees statue. They all got in front of the Buc-ees statue and they were like taking pictures and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, they did.
Coming from Shinra headquarters.
They kind of look like one of the Turks. Like
someone blew up one of our Mako reactors. Let's go to Buc-ees.
Dude, Buc-ees is awesome. Shout out to Buc-ees. All right. And then Hodge here, I see that there was a game you wanted to talk about from the Nintendo Indie Showcase, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I watched I kind of listened to it on my drive in because it was, I was driving one of the days. It took me 2 days to get down here, but so I was listening to it, and the whole thing, the indie showcase, I was like, none of this really appeals to me. None of it sounds that great. And they didn't have Hollow Knight at it again because I don't know what's happening with that game, if it even exists anymore.
Xbox.
Yeah, it'll probably be at the Xbox showcase, but I was watching that, and only one game that I had to like kind of slow down on the road. I was on cruise control. I looked down, like, what is this? And it's a game called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splinter's Fate. It's a roguelike, top-down like Hades game, but you're the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I was like, and it's co-op. So I was like, need to play this game. It looks so cool. So that one really stuck out to me, and it's a console exclusive, timed, I believe, on Switch. So it'll come to PlayStation, Xbox eventually for those who have those consoles. But yeah, when I saw that, because I wasn't, like I said, I was driving, so I wasn't really paying attention too much. So I don't know, but I looked up later that it is co-op. So that's what really stuck out to me, because I was like, there's no way you can have all 4 Ninja Turtles and this not be a co-op game. So the fact that you can play with up to 3 other people really excited me. So obviously, as I've talked on this podcast many times about, I love Hades. So hearing that there's a Hades like with the Teenage Mutant Turtles, which I loved as a kid, I am very excited for that game.
Did you hear about the drama regarding Hades lately? Apparently,
No.
there's a big stink going around about Hades, about how it has a lack of inclusive body types. What's that doing for you, Hodge? How you feel about that?
Yeah, those Greek gods really need to be fat.
There's not enough fat people.
I mean, technically, like in Norse mythology, like Thor was fat, but like it's not the Greek. Like, I guess you can make like, I don't know, Dionysus a fat guy because he's a dude who drinks all the time. But like,
yeah, Bacchus.
Who gives a shit?
Bacchus is fat. He's not in the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't give a shit. Like, I mean, I'm surprised people didn't complain more about the first one, because you play as oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? Well, the person you play, I'm blanking right now. I'm tired. The guy you play as, he's bisexual, and you bang a dude and a chick in the game. Like I'm surprised people are like, oh, that's so woke.
Well, that should have been enough to satisfy people there.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, who gives a shit? And you're playing as a chick in the second one, and it's like, who cares? I hate the amount of times people complain about the stupidest shit in these games. It's like, because I have watched like those YouTube channels where it's like, oh, this is happening behind the scenes of this game, avoid it. Like, not like Sweet Baby Inc. is an example. Like, I'm not saying that exactly, but like people complain about that kind of stuff, and it's like sometimes I agree. I'm like, yeah, that is kind of, it's a little over the top. But then there's sometimes where I'm like, you just want clicks. Like, you're not actually angry about this. You don't give a shit about this. You're just farming clicks. Which, I mean, if you're someone, like on the internet, like the quartering or people like that, like I get it. That's what they do, and they've even said it openly. Like, yeah, I'm grifting. I'm engagement farming, and I just wanted to collect a YouTube paycheck. I'm like, well, that's how you do it. So I guess, but
Yeah.
I hate when people complain about shit that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I hate it too. But let's keep the spirits up. Let's move on to some more
Yeah.
energetic topics.
And I'm very excited for Hades too. So
Heck
everyone can
yeah.
suck it.
I haven't played it. Haven't played Hades, but yeah, I know you love it.
You need to.
All right. So are we satisfied with the non-gaming fun stuff before we jump into what we're playing, everyone?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and hop into what we're playing here. I'll start us off here. I want to make sure I just remind everybody out there, remind all the listeners, you guys already know this. I mean, this is just a fact. But I, Midnight, am not a weeb, and I'm also not, I don't have trophy brain rot, okay? So everybody knows that. Not a weeb, no trophy brain rot, okay? Everybody got it out there. All right. So with that said, I am playing Eternites right now, and I'm going for the platinum right now. I'm on the platinum hunt, and I'm doing my second playthrough to get the platinum. Eternites, if you guys don't know, it's like an indie Persona-like game, Japanese role-playing game. Very good. Actually, Sean, I think you and I, hopefully we want to actually get together and do a short special episode, because I feel like this game is super slept on. I actually feel like this game is like an indie gem that people should play. I don't know if do you feel the same, Sean?
Yeah, I really liked it. I went in with like not really expecting much because you really don't know what you're getting with some of these indie games that especially when they're not hyped up. Like, for example, like Sea of Stars was hyped up so
Mm-hmm.
much. I went in not really knowing much, and I really enjoyed it. I am gonna do a replay of it before we do that though, because I played it last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I beat the game. It's only like 11-hour game, like I mentioned before. I beat the game, and then I was like, I want to get the platinum. I don't have brain rot or anything, guys, but I wanted to get the platinum, of course. So I spent like 3 hours or something, like doing save scumming, like to like date all the girls and stuff. And there's one guy that you have to date too to get the platinum. So is what it is. So I did all this stuff, right, and I didn't get the last trophy. I'm like, what the hell? And then I realized I had to do it all in one playthrough. I couldn't be save scumming it. So I'm like, fuck. All right. So then now I have to play the whole game again on New Game Plus and make sure that I
You
date.
get to enjoy it again though.
Yeah, I am enjoying it again. So I'm not even mad. So I'm on my second and a half, like 2.5 playthroughs here. Playing it again. I am enjoying it. It's a great game. It's short. Highly recommend it. But I think we're going to do a special app hopefully about that. So look forward to that, people. But again, just want to remind everyone I'm not a weeb and I don't have trophy brain rot, okay?
No, you just obsess over a beaver.
Despite what I just said about playing a weeb game and trying to get the platinum. Shout out Buc-ees. All right, so the next game that I'm playing, Dragon's Dogma 2 from Capcom. This game is okay. I don't know. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this game, to be honest with you. When I first got into the game, I was getting my ass kicked. It turns out that I accepted a quest that was like way higher level. For some reason, I was able to get the quest. That's bad game design, in my opinion. The game doesn't have levels. Like, you can't see the level of the monsters. And there's no indication at all in the quest log or anywhere that this is like a quest that you shouldn't be doing yet at your level. I was like level 9, level 10. And I'm going into like the Misty Vale region or something. And there's just high level swarming enemies everywhere. And I was getting my ass kicked. And I spent hours dying and losing progress and stuff. And that wasn't very fun. But then I'm like, all right, I realized that, okay, I'm in over my head. I shouldn't be here right now. So I went back to the capital. I got my party together. And I started doing some local quests, the quests that I actually should be doing. I also switched to a thief. So I'm like daggering it up. and I got my main pawn. He's now a fighter. He's tanking, so it's working well. Now I'm doing well. I'm bodying people. I'm doing really good in the combat. I've beaten a couple quests. No problems now that I'm doing content that's actually for my level. But the question is that I'm asking myself, am I having fun? And honestly, I'm not sure that I am. Like, I don't know. The story is kind of non-existent. Like, it's there. Like, there's a story, but it's not really in your face much, right? I think the point of this game, I think, is about exploration, kind of Skyrim style, but it's not drawing me in the way that Skyrim did. I'm not sure that I care about the cave that you go in and you open a chest and get barely anything exciting. And you pick some freaking iron on the wall. That's not really doing it for me. So I'm gonna stick with Dragon's Dogma 2, but it hasn't clicked for me yet. Have any
Do
of
you
you guys
think
played it?
I haven't played it. I am interested in it because I've heard a lot of high praise for it, but I've also heard other people talk about it the way you do. And the one commonality I'm seeing in a lot of the people who are kind of let down or not really enjoying themselves thoroughly are they recently played Baldur's Gate 3. And do you think that might have ruined it for you? Not ruined it, but
It
kind of been like, oh, it's
I don't
not
Set the
Baldur's
precedent.
Gate. Yeah.
I don't know. It might have. Fucking damn you, Larian. Larian's out here ruining every game. It seems like because yeah, I mean no game's living up to Baldur's Gate 3, but I don't know. I'm gonna stick with it. I just don't know if I'm having that much fun. It's like the combat is okay, but it's not super fun. It's like, yeah, you just beat up these. It's the same enemies over and over. First of all, there's like these goblins that you fight. And then there's a couple ogres, and then there's some wolves, and then you'll see like a cyclops walking around or like a big wolf minotaur monster walking around, and like that's pretty much it. It's like the same enemies over and over and over, which I guess a lot of games, you could say that for a lot of games, to be fair, but I don't know. It's just like I feel like I'm in an open world with very little narrative, and the combat isn't doing it for me, and the exploration's not doing it for me, and I'm just like, fuck, I don't know. But I'm hoping it will catch me as I get deeper, because I'm not very far into the story. So once I actually get more into the story, with like in the beginning there's like this coronation thing, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil anything. Maybe when that happens, maybe like some oh shit moments will happen and it'll grab me some more. So we'll see. I don't want to be too negative. But that's what I'm playing. Eternites Platinum Hunt, not a weeb, hashtag, and Dragon's Dogma 2. Let's go ahead and kick it over to Hodge. What's going on with you?
Yeah, so I've been playing Helldivers still. Like that's I didn't even add it to the thing because it's just a game I'm still hopping into, and I mean they've added new weapons and new stratagems, new ship modules and stuff like that. So if anyone did fall off for a little bit, or if you hit level 50, you can now go up to 150. So they've added plenty to the game, and it's still just a blast. And so I don't need to talk about it too much. Everyone knows how much I love that game. But I've also been playing the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga game. And so people, I mean, we'll probably do an episode about like traditions and stuff like that we have with games and stuff. But a quick one that I can talk about is me and my older brother, since we were kids, ever since the first Lego Star Wars game came out on, was it PS2? I think it was back in the day.
Yeah, PS2. Yeah.
Yeah, we played that game. We loved it. That one we played over and over and over. But so we just play every Lego game together, and so we just still have this tradition of now we live in the same city, but forever we never lived in the same city. My brother lived in Indianapolis, I lived in Iowa, then he moved to Texas while I was still up in the Midwest and all that. So it would be basically for like Thanksgiving or Christmas break, we'd come home and we just crank out a Lego game while while we were in town together. But this Lego Star Wars game is so long that we've been playing it for like 2 years at this point, but so now that we live in the same area, we can actually like knock it out, and we like, spend evenings or whatever together just playing it. But the game itself I don't know, it's good. It's a very good game. They added so much detail. They obviously put so much care into this. They have just the utmost respect for the series, because there's like 300 characters you can play as, and it's like you run around as Max Rebo. It's like just random Star Wars characters that they have all that detail in. But I really enjoy it, but I kind of miss the simplicity of the older Lego games, where it's like you kind of had this small hub world and you'd go to each mission or whatever, and then later on they kind of had the missions in the hub world that you could do. But this game is so huge that it's taking us forever to do. but it is a blast, and of course it's just as adorable as every other Lego game, because obviously it's a kid's game, so they make it really cute. And like instead of Kylo Ren stabbing Han Solo, he like trips and falls, and like just really stupid stuff like that. Like, but yeah, so it's a really fun game, but I think the Lego games peaked at the Marvel Superheroes one that launched with PS4 and Xbox One. That Lego game is a genuinely great game. I think it even got like 9s and 10s from a lot of outlets. Like, it's a beloved Lego game, but this one's really good. A little too bloated, I think. You don't need to collect 1,200 bricks. That's insane. Like, we're at 600 and we've probably played it for like 40 hours already. Like, it's a little too bloated, but it's a really fun time. Especially we just love playing co-op. Me and my brother always find co-op games to play, so it's really fun just for us too to be like, what are we doing? Like, play this game. But yeah, it's good. I would kind of, at this point, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. But I think it's just the bloat. If it wasn't so bloated, I'd probably like it a lot more. But because they changed the gameplay, because every Lego game was pretty much the same until this one. So it's cool that they kind of changed it, but they bloated it just a little too much.
I adore the Lego games, and I loved Skywalker Saga. I thought it was awesome. I platinumed it. I probably put 80 hours into it, just going through everything. And the way I look at the Lego games, they're like the equivalent to the N64, PS1 3D collectathons.
Mm-hmm.
That's like they're the modern day version of that. And I really, really enjoyed Skywalker Saga. I really liked what they did with the change in the combat, and how the combat's much more in depth. You have like stances for your like lightsabers and stuff, and you can like, not like first person, but you can like zoom in with the guns and everything.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed this. There was a lot of fan service. You can tell the people working on it are huge Star Wars fans. Because they include a lot of little like Easter eggs and a lot of just throwbacks to little things. Like there's like Han shot first. Like there's stuff like that is in there. And I'm a huge... Yep, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say, and they made fun of how in The Force Awakens, when Han Solo dies, Leia just walks past Chewie to hug Rey, and everyone's like, "Why would she go to Rey?" And so, Chewie gets off, he starts running to Leia, and she just avoids him and goes to Rey, and he's like, "What?" Like they make fun of that because
and I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm not a fan of the Disney movies, but I love I love the original trilogy. I love the prequels, but I think they did a great job with like translating the Disney movies into Lego. Like, and like you said, there's so many characters, and it was overall, it was a blast. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is. And I just love, like you said, the collectathon, which is probably why we love it, because my brother's the same as me. My brother played a lot more RPGs growing up, my older brother, where I was the platformer. Like, my brother played all the Final Fantasy games. He loves Final Fantasy. I think he might have even played 14. I can't remember, but but that was one we always played together, because when you're a kid, and like I've said before, when you're a kid and you just need to milk everything out of a game, a collectathon is the perfect thing for that, because you have all that time just to go and collect everything. But like I said, this one's just a little too bloated, but it is still a lot of fun. But the amount of care they put into the Star Wars like world is really cool.
Yeah, I actually have that game, the Star Wars Legos games on Xbox. I gave it to my nephew as like a Christmas gift, but apparently he already had it, so he gave it to me. So I have a physical copy back there. I haven't really played it. I did try out like the first stage or whatever. I think it's like when Darth Vader is boarding the ship, or so. I don't even remember.
Well, it depends on like, you can start in
where you start,
prequel trilogy, the OG trilogy, or the sequel.
Yeah, so you probably started with A New Hope.
Yeah, I don't even remember, honestly, but it was cool, but I haven't really got very deep into it. I've never played any of the Lego games fully, but they're cool, the humor and stuff, and it's nice that they're giving kids like a nice into like gaming, get them collecting, get it used to the controls and everything. That's important. It's good.
Really, really quickly, before we move on, Sean, you saying that you got the platinum. It's funny because since me and my brother have played these for so long, I would usually buy them like when they're super cheap on the store. And so we would play with me as first player, my brother as second player. But this time he had it, so he was first player, I'm second player. And forever, whenever we'd play games, he would just get robbed of achievements while I got them. Like, for some reason, it wouldn't give it to the second player. And in this game, they're just straight up busted to where the second player doesn't get any of the trophies or achievements. We're playing on Xbox. And so he's getting all these and he's going to platinum it. And I'm sitting there, I have like 3 achievements that I just randomly got from doing like things on the map. So he's like, yeah, this is revenge for all those years of you getting the 100% and me not.
It's like, did I even play the game?
Yeah. If you don't get the trophies, it means you didn't play the game.
Play it.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so that was all that you're playing right now, Hodge?
Yeah.
All right, Sean, talk to us.
All right, so this is the last time I'm going to mention it until I actually get the platinum. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. God, some of these legendary challenges are just kicking my butt. They are so difficult. But I did so. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it down for a couple days. So I put it down for a few days and downloaded this game that came out in March. A little indie JRPG SNES style game called Terra Memoria. And I absolutely adored this game. It is such a heartfelt story. You have a party of 6, but only 3 of them are like actively like combatants. The other 3 are like support characters that help each character in battle. And it's turn-based combat, but it's like a combination of Octopath's combat with this game called Ikenfell, which was another indie game I played a couple years ago that was like a JRPG inspired game. And oh my god, from the art style is very much like a 2D HD art. It takes place in the world of, it's called Terra is like the world, and basically the whole premise of the game is that it's like in a post-apocalyptic society where like animals are kind of like the dominant like species, I guess, and there are humans though, but there's like robots all over the place that are like coming to life and attacking like everyone who's living, and they don't know what robots are, so they're calling them carcasses. But you're throughout the game, you're finding like little notes about like what happened in the past and like why society fell, basically. And it actually has a little bit of a not connection, but like I connected it to Final Fantasy 16, where there's these crystals that kind of power everything. Like there's like they power the world, they give you energy, they allow you to like, you know, have like power and stuff like that. And the crystals are running out, and there's a subsect group that wants to destroy all the crystals and go back to the way it used to be, without crystals, without magic. And that's very Final Fantasy 16.
Sounds very familiar, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a heartfelt story, and the side quests are so impactful too. Like each one, you don't have to do them all for the platinum. Like you don't have to do them all, but I did almost all of them. You learn a lot about the characters, and shout out to Syl. She's a fox. She's like one of my favorite characters in the game. Her lightning power is just awesome, and she has a very tragic backstory where she basically gets abandoned.
She's a literal fox, or are you saying she's looking
She's
good?
a literal fox.
Oh, okay, literal fox. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literal. Yeah.
But is she also the other kind of fox?
I'm not into that. So that's all you guys. You guys are into beavers.
Little furry.
You guys are into beavers.
Whoa. Okay. Hold on. All right. You're gonna sit here. You're gonna sit here and tell me, Sean Mason, that this beaver is not the most adorable motherfucker that you've ever seen. Look at him. He's adorable.
You want me to go get my dog? I can show you my dog.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, a dog is gonna be cuter. He's alive, but is this not adorable though? This little. No. It was only $14 too.
Only $14.
Yeah, look how big it is. It's as big as my
That
head.
could have been an extra bet on DraftKings for me.
You could have lost that bet. I'm not losing Bucky here. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, Bucky's gonna sit here and co-host the show with me. Go ahead, Sean.
No, but yeah, the game's awesome. I mean, like I said, the characters are I really highly suggest it. It was like 20 hours to platinum, about maybe 12 hours to complete. Really fun combat. The battles can get difficult too. Overall, highly suggest it.
I love when games to platinum, it's like just a couple hours after, because there's sometimes where it's like, oh, to beat the main story is 12 hours, to platinum it is 70 hours. Like, what? Yeah. Why does it take that long? So when it goes from 12 to 20, that's music to my ears.
Yeah, and the game has a really cool cooking system too. For when you cook, it permanently adds stats to you, so you only have to do it once. Like if you you can only cook like an item once, and then it permanently adds to your stats. But it's a little rhythm game when you're cooking, So, and if you, I only failed it once, and that was like when I was trying to go for a trophy. And if you fail it though, it's not like you lose it; you just start right over. You just start it
nice.
again, so it's not bad. You don't lose material or anything. And there is a almost like a. Have you guys ever played Dark Cloud?
No.
PS2.
Mm-mm.
And Dark Cloud, it was an RPG. It was like a first party PlayStation game, early PS2 game. And in Dark Cloud, you had like a home city where you could build stuff. Like you can build barracks, you can build like you can like certain members of your society or like there's a nurse. She needs like, oh, I need like a hospital ward, or like a cook, I need like a kitchen. In this, there is a home base you set up, and you can build stuff for them. And like, there's a forge for like a blacksmith, and it's pretty cool. And you can recruit people to come join you. It's totally optional. Like that has nothing to do with the story, but it is cool. You do learn a lot more about the characters doing stuff like that, which again, highly suggest it. Really, really cool story. It's cozy. It was a very cozy game to me.
Mm.
And then lastly, we had a little bit of a game night. Me and my wife Claire, we had a game night with another couple of our friend. His name is Scott, and his fiance Allison. Shout out to them because I know Scott listens.
Shout out Scott.
Yeah, he's going through cancer right now, so we're trying to. Yeah, he is. So stage 4 colon cancer. So
Okay.
we're doing a lot for
We're
him.
praying for him.
Yeah, so he's going through chemo right now. So we figured Thursday night we had them over. I made some pizza for him. He loves pizzas, but we decided to sit down. We're gonna play a 4-player game, and we cranked out the GameCube because that's what we like to do. And we were like, "What should we play?" We're like, "Scott, what do you want to play?" And we threw on Kirby Air Ride, and oh my gosh, I adore this game. It is one of my favorite GameCube games. I probably put hundreds of hours into this game as a kid, just running through City Trial. Are any of you familiar with Kirby Air Ride?
No,
No.
I never had a
Is that
GameCube.
kind of like Mario Kart like?
No, I mean there are races, but the true game mode is City Trial, and it's like an open. You're in like this like little city, and you collect power ups, and like they affect your character. And at the end, it's like a 7-minute event, and at the end of the 7 minutes, you have you have an event after. You have like a race, or like there's like a like a fight, like you fight each other like on your boards, or like there's like who can kill the most enemies, or there's a high jump, like who can jump the highest off their like going off a ramp on their board. You don't know what the event is, but you're just collecting power-ups, but they're like throughout the game. Like there's a glide power up, there's an offense power up, there's a defense power up and stuff like that. But if you have a ton of glides, when you go out, if you say the event's like a high jump, when you go for the high jump, you're not going to go that high, you're going to go pretty far though. So it's all about like you don't know. And there's random events during like it's called City Trial. There's like a random event, like one thing there's like, oh my gosh, a giant meteor is coming. You know, like meteors will just come down and just explode, and like you can like you don't die. Like your board explodes, and you have to go find another board. And there's a ton of different boards, and we had a lot of fun time doing that. It's the same people who Sakurai, the same guys who made Smash Brothers. So like if you guys are familiar with like you know how like they have like the checklist in Smash Bros, like Super Smash Brothers Brawl and Smash for Wii U, like they had like you do this and like something would go out, like something would like pop out, like a little almost like an achievement.
Yeah.
They had that, so like I don't know how many times we checked off everything growing up, but overall it was just a fun, cozy game. Really brought me back.
I
And,
do remember the box art. I was looking at it. I do remember
Dude.
that box art.
Dude, I love it. You have no idea how many hours like, me and my friends put into this game. We adored it, and I still have my original copy, and it's honestly it's the only Kirby game I've ever played. So like I'm like, this is peak. My sister's a huge Kirby fan, so we had them all. I just never played them, but Kirby Air Ride drew me in. Shout out to the scooter. Hodge, I think you would love this game. I think you would love this game.
I was so close to having Kirby's Dream Land on my top 10 when we did our did our top 10, but I dropped it off for I can't remember which game I threw on there instead of it, but Kirby's Dream Land used to be a top 10 game, so it'd probably be like the number 11 for me. I'd love that game so much, but I'm sure I would love this if it ever comes to like the Nintendo Online thing. Maybe I'll play it.
I've been begging for like a sequel to this game since it came out in like 03. I'm like, we need a sequel.
I'm surprised they haven't remastered it for Switch for $60.
Last thing I'll say before we move on is you have like different types of boards too. Like you have like the traditional Warp Star, like the regular Kirby thing, and then there's like variations of the Warp Star that are like more powerful. But then you have like bikes too. Like you have like a wheelie bike. like a scooter, and they all have like, in Kirby how like they all have like the distinct art style with the face, like the faces, the eyes, all that. They're
Mhm.
like on the boards that are it's so cool. You have like the legendary boards too, like this is where I don't know, have you in Smash Brothers Kirby's Final Smash is like a dragoon, like you fly like a dragoon board.
Mhm.
That's where it comes from. It's from Kirby Air Ride. You have to find like during City Trial. There's certain boxes that will have like pieces in them, and if you find all three pieces, you'll get this legendary board called the Dragoon. And there's another one called Hydra,
Oh.
and the Hydra's like wicked fast. You're going so fast, you run into an opponent, you just kill them immediately. They just die, they explode. The whole game's awesome. I really really love it, and oh my god, I want a sequel now.
Right on. Shout out to Nintendo. I actually saw, I don't even have a Switch, but I saw that Fire Emblem Engage was on sale for $20. And I thought about buying the game, even though I don't have the Switch. I was like, I'll just go ahead and get this game. It's only $20. Nintendo doesn't put their games on sale that often.
Do you remember when the Switch came on sale and more copies of Breath of the Wild were sold than Switches had been sold?
Yeah,
Like people were
I remember
buying the
that.
game in anticipation to buy the console. It was so weird.
That's funny. Or maybe they're thinking like, because this thought entered my mind. I was like, maybe I'll buy the game and then I can just emulate the game legally. Or semi legally, because at least I could be like, look, I purchased the game. I have a receipt here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they came after me, at least I'd have somewhat of a defense, But anyway, so yeah, Sean, so that's what you've been playing. Are you satisfied with those?
Yeah, I think we should
All right.
move on to our music.
I agree.
Really
Oh,
quickly before
yes.
we do, I forgot I downloaded that Delta app that iOS now allows emulators in the App Store, and so I was playing a little Pokemon on it, and it was awesome. But I just wanted to say that it's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to emulation. I need to get into that more. I like emulation.
I've never emulated, probably never will.
Legal emulation. I don't
Yeah, I usually don't, but the fact that like the phone is shaped like a Game Boy, it was it was neat. I just wanted to try it out, and so I was playing a little Pokemon on it, and it was cool. But yeah, I prefer playing it on like an actual console. But yeah.
The way I see it with emulation is if you legitimately own the game, you're not harming anyone. If you want to play it on a PC or a phone instead, who cares? As long as you already supported the devs, you bought the game. Now, if you're illegally, you can do what you want. I'm not your father. But if you're out there like just illegally pirating all these games, most of these people, I'm not your father.
Well, yeah,
that's up to you.
It's a topic for another day, but yeah.
It is. Let's go ahead and get into the topic of the show. We're going to talk about music. So this is going to be about soundtracks, songs, gaming music, what has stuck with us, what was memorable, what we loved, and just general reminisce. Let's go ahead and start with our Texas native Hodge. Go ahead and hit us off with some music, my friend.
Yeah, I was trying to, because we don't really have we're not doing a list or anything. So I was just kind of thinking about different ways I think of music. And there's two that I think of, or actually three. There's three. The first one is obviously just the game soundtrack of just the music you hear while you play through the levels, the background music, which is really, I actually was reading about it once, is that it's designed to be background music. Like it's not supposed to be the main thing you hear. So people, like I used to in college and stuff, I would put on video game music to study because it's just kind of there to move through your head. It's not like you're not sitting there listening to lyrics. So there's that kind of music. And then there's soundtracks like, we'll get into more specific stuff, but like an example is the Alan Wake soundtrack, having those in between chapter songs that I play, or the Old Gods of Asgard music, which I'm going to gush about in a bit, but and then there's a third type of video game music, which I know we're going to dedicate an episode to. So I just kind of want to briefly talk about it, is like the rock bands and the DDRs and like those music games kind of thing. So, the kind I listen to the most is the soundtracks. Like, I guess I could just hop into some that I love. I just today in the gym, actually, I was listening to the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack, mostly the like Simple and Clean and Face My Fears, and that
I like that song,
the singing ones. But I very often I'll throw on like a Kingdom Hearts like with rain sounds kind of thing on YouTube, or Uncharted or Halo or Star Wars or any of those kind of thing to fall asleep to. But like Kingdom Hearts and Halo are probably my two favorite soundtracks of all time. And then I own The Last of Us, Hades, and the God of War soundtracks on vinyl because they're just that good that I listen to them. And I have I'll mention it here, and I'm going to mention on an episode in the future to our guests on that. But I also have a vinyl called the Keyblade Wars, which is just like covers of different Kingdom Hearts songs. It's also on Spotify if you want to listen to it there, and it's amazing. Just these, it's like 12 songs or something where they just take some of the best songs from Kingdom Hearts and they have these really epic orchestral versions of it. And then like they have the Utada Hikaru, or I can't remember how I say her name, but they have her songs on there also where a different girl's singing them, and they're just gorgeous because they go with the orchestra and all. And it's a great soundtrack. So it's called the Keyblade Wars. Anyone should check that out. But yeah, video game music is like, I think I've told this story before. Yeah, I told it because I went to a Breaking Bad concert a couple weeks ago, and I told this story, but I'll say it again for those who haven't heard it. I was in high school. I was a freshman, and I had a Walkman. I was listening to the Halo 2 soundtrack, which is still maybe my favorite soundtrack of all time. And I was listening to it, and this girl who I had a huge crush on came up to me, and she's like, "What you listening to?" And of course, I didn't want to be like video game music. So I was like, "Oh, I'm listening to Breaking Benjamin." She goes, "Oh, wait, let me hear." So I was like, "Oh, shit." So I had to skip back to the song because I knew which track number it was. And I handed it to her, and she goes, "I've never heard this one." I was like, "Oh, yeah, it's new. It's one of their new songs. It's pretty good." But then I found out later she's a nerd and she wouldn't have
You
cared.
fumbled, dude. You fumbled.
know.
You should have told her.
Actually, we did date for a little bit, but it was freshman year high school dating. That's not really dating. It's just, hey, my dad's going to drop me off at your house and we'll watch a movie. It's not dating. But
Did you put your arm around her?
Yeah. Oh, I put my arm around her. Yeah. We got to first base. Kissed her.
Ooh, okay.
But yeah, yeah, I always think of that. But yeah, so I've always loved video game music. I was also the kind of kid I'd like, when you had the jacket of CDs back in the day, and you might be too young for this, Sean, but I don't know.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, having just a jacket full of CDs, and half of them were always like, I'd have John Williams music, which obviously not video games, but I just had soundtracks because I loved listening to orchestral music, and I just liked it, from movies that I enjoyed or video games that I enjoyed. So yeah, music has always been a huge part of my life. So the fact we're talking about video game music is awesome because I love it. But yeah, I've been rambling on too long. You guys can go.
That's all right. I figure like we'll all talk about it and then we'll do some round robin too. Just go back and forth. So yeah, when we proposed this topic initially, I was like, I don't know if I have too much to say about the video game music. Let's see here. But then I thought about it, and there are absolutely some soundtracks and some songs that have been very meaningful for me. A couple that come to mind. First of all, Skyrim. 100%. I've mentioned this before, but when I was playing Skyrim on the Xbox 360, it was a moment. Like when you first load up the game, that intro song comes on, and it's just banging. It's so good, full orchestra. And I would literally, and I feel like a lot of people probably did the same thing. Yeah, it's great,
dude. Even before I played Skyrim, I loved that song because I would just listen to like video game compilations, and it was always on it because that song is so fucking epic.
It's so epic, and like you don't even want to start the game yet. I would literally sit there for like 3 minutes and listen to the whole song, and then I would start the game because it's just a vibe. It was just a moment. It was so powerful, so good, and it so recreated the feeling of the world in music form. Like right when you hopped in, it really felt like that song was there with you, even after it went away. Another couple things here. I have to shout out to the Persona music. Persona has amazing music. That's one thing that you cannot take away from Persona, no matter what. Some people don't like Persona, some people do, but one thing you can't take away from them is the music. The soundtracks, banging, like so good. Persona 5, Persona 4. I don't know about 3. Actually, I heard a couple tracks off 3, and they were good too.
3 is spectacular. The soundtrack.
Yeah, like they don't miss with the music. You can just put it on and just vibe out.
That's the same thing with Kingdom Hearts. Is even if you don't like those games, that music is so fucking good.
The only thing that I know about Kingdom Hearts music is the Simple and Clean song, which is good. It's a good song.
There's so many other good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe one day I'll get to that, but I don't really have plans to play Kingdom Hearts. So it seems like too much weebery for me. Too much weebery and too much confusion. Like what the hell's even going on from what I've heard.
If you want to just experience the music of Kingdom Hearts, you just play Melody and Memories. It's a rhythm game and has almost every song. It's fantastic.
I played the demo of that. I couldn't do it.
Oh, dude,
so
I put 85 hours into it, and
oh my god,
I loved it. No, but like the music was what brought me kept me
Yeah, of
going. Just
course.
like
That's why I played the demo.
almost every single song from Kingdom Hearts is in that game. Almost every single one.
It's crazy.
Yeah. A couple other songs that come to mind, which these are like everybody probably loves these songs. Of course, the Halo theme song is super iconic, one of the best songs of
Dum,
all time.
dum, dum,
Yeah,
dum.
sing it, Sean.
I'm not gonna
What
say.
I wish
I
I knew
can't
how to put
even.
an echo on this thing, because then I could sing the
Oh, it's so good. And then of course the Legend of Zelda theme song is also super
Oh, yeah.
iconic. So those are the four that immediately come to my mind: the Skyrim, Halo, Zelda, and all the Persona music is amazing. A couple other ones. Shout out to Final Fantasy 16. A lot of those boss fights. First of all, the boss fights were huge and epic, just tons of production and multiple stages, and you're like fighting all these icons and doing all this stuff. And the music was just banging. Like they cooked on that. Sean?
Dude, Find the Flame is an absolute banger. I've listened to it every single day since I played Final Fantasy 16 for the first time. Not even joking. I play it once a day on Spotify. It is an absolute banger. I constantly find myself in class, like when my students are doing like a test or a quiz, or like it's like silent work. I'll be walking around, like going around the room, checking on the students. I'll just be humming it in my, and kids are like, "What are you doing?" Like, Find the Flame, and then one kid will be like, "Oh yeah, that song's awesome."
It's like, mind your business, kid. I grade your papers. Sean would never say that. He's too nice.
That's actually, yeah, I'll talk about it later. Actually, never mind. You go.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that's how I've been with. I'm gonna talk about it more because I want to get into it. But that's how I've been with Old Gods of Asgard every day since Alan Wake 2 came out. I've been listening to Old Gods of Asgard every single day, so I know that feeling.
That's funny. I wonder if everybody does that, because that's something that I do. Whenever I'm into a song, I just play the shit out of it, like just
Oh, yeah.
over and over and
Yeah.
over. And then I like to go onto YouTube sometimes if it's like a conventional song, maybe video games too. But I like to go on and then I'll type in the name of the song and I'll watch reactions. Like I'll literally watch people reacting to the song for no reason, just to see if they pop off at the same points as me.
They react correctly.
Yeah, if they're like if they feel the same lines, like have the same impact and stuff as I did.
Yeah.
I don't know, like confirmation bias type stuff. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. I'm gonna give a shout out to the Ohio State University, the best damn band in the land, the marching band. I'm gonna put a link in the description of this video. Nobody will watch it probably, but if you're interested, the Ohio State Marching Band did this freaking amazing video game music compilation where they actually played the theme songs from Zelda, from Halo, from all this stuff. And while they're doing it, they're marching and they're doing like the Triforce and they're doing the Halo logo and they're doing all this stuff. And it was just amazing. It was so well done, really cool. So if anyone's a nerd and really wants to check out that video in the description. But anyways, let me go ahead and pass it over to Sean. Talk about some video game music here.
So it's interesting. Music growing up, my dad and sister huge into music. Like they'd be the kid the people who'd be like on the weekends watching the MTV top, the top 20 videos or VH1, whatever it was. And it took me a while to actually find my, niche for music. Like I would say until high school, I really didn't care about music at all. Like I didn't hate music, but like whatever was on, I would listen to. Didn't have a favorite song, couldn't tell you who played what. Kind of just whatever was on was on. I really never found it. But the one thing that stuck with me was video game music. That was what I liked. And so when YouTube first started, like 2006, 2007, you got like fifth grade Sean over here trying to look up video game music. You got like someone recording their TV, listening to that video game music. But like some of the iconic like songs for me, even just growing up, were video game music, because Nintendo played a huge part in that. Like the iconic Mario theme, just like one. There's that Super Mario Bros. Mario theme, or the Underworld theme in Mario. Like those played like that. I associate those songs with so many wholesome memories. Very similar to Legend of Zelda. Like I'll never forget playing Link to the Past and just hearing the overworld theme, and then when you go into the dark world in Link to the Past, and like you just hear the music changes, and you're like, oh, it's such an eerie vibe. And then Hodge, you brought up Kingdom Hearts, and like that music just, even playing it at like 6 years old, I'm like, there's something about this music that just hits. It's like it makes you like feel like the emotions, and like you get like the butterflies in your stomach, like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? Like, why am I feeling this way? And you find out you have like a personal connection, and then like all of the Final Fantasy games are like that for me. Like the music is so iconic. I think a lot of JRPGs, the music just hits, and it's tonally it fits with the what the director of the game wants you to take away from it. Like anytime there's a somber moment, like the music just you can feel it. Like Aerith's theme, like anytime that plays, I can like, oh my god, like I just get flashbacks of remembering the first time she was, spoiler,
No, don't spoil.
the first time something happens to her. It's just absolutely crazy. Like Tifa's theme I really like all like the themes in Kingdom Hearts. Shout out specifically Roxas's theme. Like there's a YouTube video that's like it's an extended version of that for like 50 minutes. I play that all the time. Like I just love that. The Organization 13 theme, absolutely
Kyrie's
like
theme.
Kyrie's. Yeah, like that was not my fire smoke detector, everyone. That was me. No, just music in general though. But like even like I didn't play. There's a lot of games I haven't played that I like the music from, and a lot of that is Nintendo stuff, and that's from playing Smash Brothers. Like I remember in Super Smash Brothers Brawl for the Wii, you could collect CDs, and like in the CD would be like a song, and there would be so many songs that like were in that game that you could like you could select stages and you could pick like, oh, here's like 30 different songs, and you're just gonna you could pick like a song for each stage. And I remember like going through the Kirby stages and like the dreamland, the dun 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 dun. Like I never played Kirby, and like I knew that was from Kirby though. Yeah, and I just get like the picture of like the Woody, the tree, whatever it is. Is it called Woody? Is that the tree's name?
I can't
I don't
remember.
remember. Woody Whispers. I don't know. I can just see him like trying to like blow you off the stage, stuff like that. I'd be you know, if I didn't mention Metal Gear Solid, like the music in Metal Gear Solid, just oh my
That just
gosh.
reminded me one I have to talk about.
That just
later,
reminded
yeah.
me of the same one that he's about to say. I know it.
Like, well, I don't know. Metal Gear Solid 4 for me is my favorite Metal Gear game, and that music just was like so transformative. Like when you boot it up and you just hear like this the orchestra in that game, it was mind blowing. I have such a connection. There's so many. I associate memories with video game music mostly, and that's why I think I enjoy it so much. And last thing I'll say before I throw it back to you guys. Sorry, I know I'm rambling here. Is
No.
you know, I ran track and cross country and played baseball in high school, and then in college I ran track and cross country, and that's what I would listen to before track meets and before any race. Like when I ran my half marathon a couple weeks ago, I listened to Final Fantasy music and Kingdom Hearts music the whole time. Before a race, I would listen to, you know, just any type of video game music that would pump me up. Like F-Zero. I never played an F-Zero game, but like hearing Big Blue, like it's like dun 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 dun.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. That was good.
Like, that would pump me up so much. I would listen to that before I ran the mile in high school, and I would just I think I was like, I'm like, oh my god, I can run as fast as I can run through that wall right now. Like it would just get me so hyped. So that's how video game music plays a big role in my life. It kind of brought me into music. Without that, I don't know what my music would be like.
Okay, good stuff. Right on. Let's go ahead and jump into, now that we've gone into our little intros on the music side, let's go ahead and jump into just a couple specific games that we thought of. I know, Hodge, you said you had something that you were reminded. I know it's the exact same game I'm thinking of. Go ahead.
It might be. But when you said Metal Gear, I thought of Death Stranding.
Exactly.
Yeah, just those moments when you're like finishing up a mission or whatever, and you just have to go down the mountain and that low roar starts playing. Or actually, I remember even before that game came out, I had heard the church. I like Churches. She's a great artist. So I've been listening to her music for a while. I actually discovered it on a podcast. I discovered her, but her song Death Stranding, which is like the theme song of the game that plays during the credits, I listened to that way before I even played Death Stranding because it was just so good. But since the game came out, I'll just throw on the soundtrack with those just low, I think the artist is called Low Roar, and it's just these super calming mute, like, and it's so perfect because it's like, I always say Death Stranding is a podcast game, but don't do it when you're doing like story missions, because those moments when they happen where it just zooms out to the world and one of those songs starts playing, it's such a vibe. Like it's not like epic, but it's just it's like zen. Like you're just in that moment, and it's just playing this music that perfectly encapsulates this moment of literally just walking down a mountain or down a hill, climbing over some rocks, crossing a creek, whatever it is. And it's just like, before I played Death Stranding, I was like, I don't understand the Kojima like die hard love. But after that game, I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever this guy does, I'm all in, because that game is just so good. And it's because that's the thing I always tell people. I'm like, I don't really recommend the game to people, but I'm like, do it if you just want this vibe. Like, especially to my friends who are all stoners. I'm like, just fucking light up a light up a joint, get a little roasted, and play it. And it's just the perfect zen. Like, I just want to chill and deliver packages, and even just love a good plot. Like, it's a great. I love that game. But yeah, that soundtrack puts that game together. Like, without that soundtrack, it might be just not like, it would be still a fun game, but it would be worse because that soundtrack adds so much to that game.
Yeah, 100%. Like when I was playing Death Stranding, you spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes traveling like this very adverse terrain, sneaking around, fighting the enemies and stuff. And then after this very long journey, all of a sudden you get close to your destination and that music comes on. And it does the little cinematic pan and the music's playing and you can see your destination finally after, like I said, literally a 25-minute walk where you're like traversing difficult terrain, trying to keep your footing, trying to get rid of the rust from the time fall and stuff, get the package in pristine order. When that music hits and you're just like, oh, not only is the music epic, and it is epic music, but it's also just this culmination of the journey where it's like, okay, these final steps as I make it to the depot and deliver this package and complete this quest and do the uplink and stuff. It was just so powerful and so good. And yeah, that was my first Kojima game really too. And it made me a fan as well. Sean, what do you think? Anything about Death Stranding or any other games that you thought of?
I mean, I've never played Death Stranding, but I mean, I just thought of so many things I could just mention. Just it's not related to Death Stranding. Is that all right?
Yeah. No, go into a game that you want to talk
We
about.
said our piece.
I was just talking about like so many like I didn't even mention Octopath. Like the music in Octopath, it fits that, like you hear the music and you're like, oh my gosh, this fits the 2D HD art style. Each of the 8 travelers, they have their own theme. Each town has a unique theme. Like you go to a desert area and like the music is just subtle in the desert. Like it's like like there's like nothing around here. It's all empty. Another thing I just want to mention is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm a huge Xenoblade fan, and the Chronicles 2 battle theme, as you go in the game, things get bleaker and bleaker. Like the world, you're losing hope in the world. Basically, like you think the world's gonna end, and as you go, the battle theme gets darker and darker. It really fits the tone of the game, and you're like, well, by the time you like go to like the last chapter of the game, the battle theme is so intense and so like fighting a common enemy, and then you compare that to chapter 1 when you could be in the same area fighting the same enemy, and it's like a very like up to like peppy and oh, everything's gonna be great, like upbeat music, and that like really hit. And then all the different towns have different music too. Um, Shout out to Nino Kuni too. Nino Kuni 1 and 2. I was like 1 and 2. Those soundtracks are fantastic. I'm mentioning a lot of JRPGs here. Something in
That's a
common here.
shocker.
Yeah, but just like
you
there's
like
so many
JRPGs?
I know. No, we didn't mention Nier Automata. Like Nier, that game's soundtrack fits that game so well. It's so powerful, and when a certain thing happens at the end of one of the endings, because there's like there's a ton of different endings, um, when the music just hits, you're like, oh my gosh, I know something bad's gonna happen here. You can just feel like there's a tonal shift when the music changes. Um, Last thing, then I'll let someone else go off. I just have a funny story about Majora's Mask. I'm a big, like I said, I'm a huge Zelda fan. Majora's Mask, the music's like basically incorporated into the game with the ocarina. You gotta play songs to speed up time and slow down time. But the Clock Town theme, because that's the main, it's Clock Town, and each day the tune gets faster and faster as the moon gets closer to you. And that day 3 Clock Town theme, that spooked me out as a kid. I was like freaking. I was like, um, and I remember a couple years ago in my classroom, a kid was humming it, so I played it for him, and he did this crazy dance to it. And I can every time I hear it now, like I just see him doing this. His name is Toby. I'll never forget him. Toby. He's in high school. He's a freshman in college now. He did this crazy dance to it, and that's all I can think of every time I hear the clock drum beat now. It's so funny though.
That's
But yeah,
hilarious.
Okay. I thought of one that in this game. Okay, so if you take away the music from this game, what would it be? It wouldn't be nearly as good. And the game that I'm referring to as my
Guitar
favorite.
Hero.
No, well, I mean, yeah, that would be something. Um, My favorite Grand Theft Auto game is Vice City. Now, the Vice City soundtrack, all those 80s bangers, you get in the car, you're in the club or whatever, and it's playing the 80s music. It's so good. It's so powerful. It sets you in the mood and in the mode that you're in the 80s in Miami. It's so great. If you take away that music, that game would not be even close to as good as what it is, in my opinion. I absolutely adore that so much. And I would say also a shout out a little bit for San Andreas for similar reasons, how it had like the 90s hip hop music and stuff, which really kind of sets you in like that California in that time period setting. So the music, the way when you get in the vehicle and it really sets the mood and the tone and the setting, very powerful on those two that just want to mention.
it's funny. That's how I feel about Grand Theft Auto 5 and 4. Like, but maybe that's I've never played anything before Grand Theft Auto 4, but that's exactly how I feel about 4 and 5. I just remember specifically in Grand Theft Auto 5, my senior year of high school. I remember like getting the game and just driving around um, Los Santos and just listening to all the different music in the game. I'm like, well, they have swimming pools by Kendrick Lamar in this game. Like what? And like it just sets the tone. You're just driving around. It's like nighttime. And you're like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, that always good music in the GTA's, but with the older games, I feel like it was a bit more special, especially with Vice City because the game is set in the 80s. So all of the music was 80s music. So that really kind of sold that you are in that era.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess you could say the same for 5 as like, you're in that era. It's just not we don't have the same nostalgia for
I
yeah,
do
for
though.
2013 as we do. Do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that was like, I was in high school. Like that's like not saying my glory days, but like you look back, a lot of people look fondly back at this. I'm like, oh, things were so much easier, when you're a kid.
Young
Um,
Sean Mason was running the school.
I did run for class president. I didn't win. Would have been a terrible
Oh, there you
president.
go.
I'm
No,
glad I didn't win.
you'd have been great.
Um, oh, can I say one? I'm gonna say you
Yeah.
had mentioned like music setting like the era. Like let's talk about Fallout. Like that
Oh,
50s music. Like
Oh yeah.
you just feel like even though it's not in the 50s, it's like hundreds of years later, it's like you're still stuck in that era of the 50s and you have the classic music. I remember playing New Vegas and listening to like Johnny Guitar and being like, what is like Fallout opened me up to so many different like just like types of music and just again, it fits the vibe of the game. You're running around the wasteland and you're
hmm
like, I'm out here by
It's
myself.
Yeah, it's the same as it's like I always wanted to be like, oh, I want to listen to the BioShock soundtrack, but it doesn't have a soundtrack. It's just like Fallout. It's just these oldie tunes that are just for that era, and it fits so perfectly. So yeah, I always think of BioShock and Fallout in that same kind of. They're like right next to each other in terms of like their video game music because yeah, it's just like they have that old timey music, but it fits so perfect for like this also futuristic world, but it's set in the past. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, I love it.
And it's the same thing in the Outer Worlds too. The Outer Worlds has
Mhm.
very similar
Yeah.
music to that too, and it's like I don't know, it just fits, and it's
Yeah.
so like even though none of us were alive in the 50s, you're like I'm like nostalgic for the 50s now. Like I want to go
Yeah.
back and see what it's like.
Yeah.
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 Definitely great. Yeah, just something about walking around a wasteland while listening to like 50s bangers,
Mhm.
is really cool. Shout out to the show as well. They had great music in the show, which we're going to get into. Like we mentioned, we're going to be doing a spoiler cast for the show that's going to be coming up probably next week when you hear this. So that'll be cool. But yeah, any other games or thoughts that you guys want to get to with the music?
Oh, plenty. But when you said the show, I was thinking of MLB, the show, and it got me thinking
Oh,
about the old NCAA and Madden games and NHL, how they always had these banger soundtracks like in the menus. They'd get like just these awesome rock bands. Eventually became like rap, but they'd have all these old rock bands and stuff in the menus, and they were so awesome. But NCAA was cool because you could set your favorite school and it would play that school theme or the
fight
school song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Menu, and that was always cool.
Shout
Oh
out
my
to
God.
MVP Baseball 2005. That soundtrack was an absolute banger. Like, I played a lot of hours of that game too, MVP 05, and I actually probably like 4 or 5 days ago, I found the soundtrack of it on Spotify, and I was listening to it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is throwing me back. There's a song called "The Walkie Talkie Man" on there, and I was like, oh my, and it just brought me back to like sitting in my basement in like simming seasons. It's like, oh my gosh, it's 2012. It was like I'm in 2005. And I'm like, oh my god, it's 2012. And I still have you know, I said, oh, I'm gonna hit like 50 home runs. It's just like I remember doing stuff like that. And shout out to the Tony Hawk games.
I was just thinking that when
Yep,
you were
those
saying that
Tony
the
Hawk
Tony
games.
Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, those games.
I've only played Pro Skater 3 and 4.
Oh my god, the
And
first
American
two
Wasteland.
having
And American
having
Wasteland.
Goldfinger and what's the band who sings Police Truck? But just these amazing ska songs, and it was such a vibe in like the late 90s, early 2000s of listening to that music. And dude, the Tony Hawk, I still listen. I used to have half those songs on my my workout playlist still. Those are such bangers.
I remember Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, first time I ever heard the Ramones.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because they have that what song is it? Oh, I can't even remember the song, but I remember listening to the Ramones on like that opening level, like you're in like a factory.
I can't even remember. I haven't played. I played 3 was one I never owned. I played it at other people's houses. 1 and 2 are the
Yeah,
ones
like
that
3
I
is the
owned.
only one I actually owned.
Yeah, I
It's funny,
loved
I got it for
1 and 2 are
Christmas.
my favorite. That's why, yeah, I was bummed they canceled the 3 and 4 remaster because I didn't play those that much. So I was looking forward to playing them and then the remaster, but then they canceled it. But
3
that
was
was
great.
so
You could play as Darth Maul.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I was really excited when they had the remasters come out for 1 and 2 where they got all of the bands to bring back their music. They licensed it all again just to bring it back because if they brought it back with modern day music, I'm like, I don't want to play this. Like the music in the Tony Hawk games was like half of the vibe. Like it was a fun skateboarding game, but just jamming out to that music was so much fun.
And
Yep.
I know we're gonna do like a special episode for like games like Guitar Hero and DDR, but I was a huge DDR kid, so like some of that music is just so brings me back. Like
When I was
Dance Dance Revolution Mix 2, I think it's called. It's like I don't even know. It's like Mix 2. Those songs, I just like they have Captain Jack. I don't know if you guys know that song. It's like Captain Jack. They have Cartoon Heroes by Aqua is on there. They have a song called Beethoven. It's like Beethoven's like Fifth Symphony or whatever. I don't know, some Beethoven song, but it's sped up. So it's like it just I remember not hearing it for about 7 years, and this is like, and then my friend in high school, like 2011, 2012, posted a video of it on my Facebook page, and it was a friend that like went to a different high school. I hadn't talked to him in years, and he goes, "Dude, do you remember this?" And I go, "Yeah." And then he came, and then I like messaged him like, "Dude, you got to come over right now." And we cranked out the old PS2, plugged it in, put our mats on, we started playing DDR.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, that was the same with like I actually didn't get, like, people who know me know I love country music, but I didn't really get into country until high school. But when I was in middle school, it was all classic rock. Like that's all I listened to. I was obsessed with Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, AC/DC. Those were like my go-tos. And so playing Guitar Hero, that introduced me to even more classic rock bands. Like, I remember like the first time I heard Foghat, like Slow Ride, I was like, oh, this song's a banger. And so I started listening to like all that stuff. And then like Guitar Hero, Metallica, I was a huge Metallica fan when I was younger. I mean, I still like them. Their newer stuff's not as great, but I loved Metallica. So that Guitar Hero was so good. Like that introduced me to Bob Seger's Turn the Page and stuff like that. Like, yeah, those were games. But yeah, we'll definitely expand on those in their own episode. But yeah, that introduced me to a lot of music there too.
Right on. Yeah. One game that came to mind, I actually mentioned this in a previous episode, was Sleeping Dogs. The soundtrack for that game was so memorable because the game was set in Hong Kong, and 100% of the music was like local Hong Kong music. So as you're driving around the city and as you're in these buildings in the city, it's playing like this Hong Kong rock music and this Hong Kong rap music. It's all in like Mandarin Chinese or whatever there's Cantonese, whatever they're speaking over there. I think it's mostly Cantonese, but anyway. So I have no clue what they're saying, but it sounds good. Like music is a universal language. Even if you don't know the lyrics, it can still sound awesome, and you can still love it. So that was super cool. Just driving around listening to like this Hong Kong music, and it was just some bangers in there that I have no clue. Like I said, the lyrics, but that was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, it just like music just touches you in a certain way. Like you had said it, like it doesn't matter what the language is, like it's universal.
Yep.
You had one last. I'm going to mention one last thing.
Do it.
Yeah. So the Crash Bandicoot has some banger music for me as well, and those were always on my playlist. And I'll never forget the first time I ran a marathon. So my first marathon. I was really chugging along. It was like mile 25. So you have like a mile left. And I'm like, and all of a sudden the music from Crash Bandicoot 2 comes on. And it was the music from a level where, like the giant bear chases you. That music came on. And I just pictured in my mind the bear behind me. And I just picked up the pace and started sprinting. I just listened to that. So now every time that comes on when I'm running, I just get a smile on my face and I start running a little bit faster. It's great.
Yeah. It's awesome how music can do that. It can just really energize you. I remember back in the day, I used to, well, I still do, but I used to be massive Ohio State football fan. This isn't gaming related, but it's music related. I used to set on Saturdays my alarm clock. I would be the Ohio State marching band theme song, the music, to get me ready to get out of bed and watch the football game. And that used to be exciting and fun. But music is it's powerful.
Yeah. One game I mentioned it briefly, but I have to talk about it and gush about it is I'm not a huge Part 2 fan, but The Last of Us, both game soundtracks, that Gustavo just guitar is like haunting in that game, but it fits it so perfectly. Like I can't believe that the show didn't use more of it. Like if the show had used that, I know it would have just kind of been copying it, but that music was so epic, like but in like a haunting post-apocalyptic way that I've listened. Like I said, I have Part 1 and Part 2 on vinyl, and I just throw those on every once in a while because they're just so calming, but also like horrifying at the same time somehow. Like the music is just so good from those games.
Anytime I hear a song from I get chills down my spine.
Yeah, it's so good. Like I'm happy they used it for like at least the theme in the show, because like people need to hear that music. It's so good. But what was the other game I wanted to talk about briefly? I thought about when you said Crash Bandicoot, the Spyro soundtracks. I still listen to them. They actually just put them on Spotify like last year, and so I started listening to them, and it takes me back to my childhood. That one, like Kingdom Hearts, it takes me back, but it never really went away. So like I was always listening to it, whereas Spyro went away until the Reignited trilogy came out however many years ago, and then it's been on my mind ever since. But so that one is really just reminds me of being a kid, just playing just those amazing platformers all the time. And so I love the Spyro soundtracks. But
shout out to Paper Mario Go soundtrack.
Dude, shout out to Mario in general, like how iconic. That's like one of the most iconic video games.
You can play that to everyone. You probably play that to anyone, and they'll know.
And they'll know exactly what it is, even if they're not a gamer.
Yeah, everyone knows it. It's the same. It's not as obviously not as like historic as Mario, but it also reminds me of when I was a kid back on Sega Genesis. You didn't have saves; you just started at the start of the game, and so every time booting up Sonic the Hedgehog, you just just every time you just go into Green Hill Zone and you play that song every single time, and it reminds me of booting up that game, and you started from the beginning every single time you played it. And
not a Sonic guy, but those songs are just absolute bangers.
Oh, dude, they're so good. Yeah, Sonic, it's nothing compared to Mario, but just the music in those games were so great. I loved the Sonic music. But I was going to talk about Kingdom Hearts again, but I was like, yeah, we talked about it enough, and we'll
guys are talking about that more later. Yeah.
Yeah. So don't need to talk too much about that one, but Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what other ones I wanted to mention. Pretty much mentioned them all. Oh, actually, one more. I just got to do it. But I know I mentioned it earlier, but I have to gush about it. Is the Alan Wake soundtracks and Control and just any Remedy game. I love Remedy so much, but the Alan Wake soundtrack, like they have the orchestral one, just the music from the game on Spotify, which I listen to all the time. But Old Gods of Asgard, they actually put out like their quote unquote greatest hits, which is just all their music they've played through all the games. And like I said, I've listened to Old Gods of Asgard every single day since that game has come out. The music is so freaking good. For anyone who doesn't know, they're a band called Poets of the Fall. And they play this fake band in the Remedy verse, and there's just these epic like 80s rock songs. Like it sounds exactly like one of their songs sounds exactly like a Van Halen song. Like it has that the synth in the background and all that. It's so good that I've played it for people who have literally never played the games before. Like, who are these guys? They're awesome. I'm like, it's a fake band from a video game. but I'm like, but like they don't care because their songs, like the lyrics make more sense if you played the games, because they sing about kind of Alan Wake topics, and Take Control is obviously about control. And so like if you don't know the games, you don't understand the lyrics as much, but they're still epic songs. And then with Alan Wake 2, they had their chapter songs come out, and the songs on that soundtrack are so good. Wide Awake is such an epic song, and it's on the Alan Wake 2 chapter songs EP, and it's amazing. The music in those games is so freaking good. And like I said, they're all on my on repeat. They're all on my workout playlist. I listen to them every day. It's so good. But I think I know we're kind of running to the end, but if you had to say, like, gun to your head, what's your favorite game soundtrack? Kind of what would you go with? Or franchise soundtrack? Doesn't have to be like in single.
Persona.
Persona is one of
not a weeb.
Kingdom Hearts, yeah. Persona is one of those where like Persona and actually Nier Automata, like you mentioned earlier, those are two games that I've never played any of them, but they're two games that people always say how great their soundtracks are. Like if ask anyone, they're like, yeah, they're great games and their soundtracks are amazing. Like those two games, I always hear that. And one day I do want to get into a Persona game. They're so freaking long that it's like,
need to.
I know, but I do because I've heard they're so good, and I'm sure
Are you into like fantasy type, medieval like fantasy type stuff? I don't know. I don't remember.
It takes a lot for.
Or do you more like the modern stuff?
I prefer kind of the more modern.
Okay, so
like,
then you should play Persona. Then I was gonna say,
yeah, because I'm sure I'd love it because
just play Persona 5 Royal. It's on Game Pass.
I have 4 Golden on my PS Vita, and obviously Reload is on Game Pass. So I was debating
or play that, yeah,
picking up one of those, but Xbox needs to get their handheld out so I could play it there because
dude, that'll be cool.
But yeah, I'd have to probably go Kingdom Hearts as well because the music is so good. Because I mean, the Halo Mjolnir mix, like from Halo 2, like I love the Halo 2 soundtrack, and there's two of them actually. Both of them are great, but the Halo theme is just probably my favorite theme of all time. But overall, the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack is just epic from start to finish. There's nothing bad, and it's cool because in Kingdom Hearts you have like the just general Kingdom Hearts music that's only in Kingdom Hearts, and then each world you have like a Halloween Town theme, a Tarzan theme, like you have all the movie themes in there also that are put into like video game background form, and it's so cool.
All right on. Yeah, so shout out to video games, shout out to music. We love both of them. I think this is a good conversation. I am satisfied on this. Any last thoughts for you guys, or any other games that you want to shout out on this?
No, but I know the second we end recording, I'm going to be thinking about something I should have said, but that's all right.
4 more. Yeah.
There's so many good.
If anyone listening, leave a comment or message us or whatever on what your favorite music is. I kind of think if we get enough, we should follow up at the start of the next episode and be like, all right, we forgot these ones and these people say this kind of thing.
Like Chrono Trigger, great soundtrack.
Yeah.
and Chrono Cross.
Dude, the Sea of Stars game had, even though I didn't like the game that much, the music in it was awesome. I loved the music.
I wasn't high on the music.
Oh, I loved it. I loved the theme. But
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, leave some comments down below if you're listening on YouTube, especially. Let us know what your favorite soundtracks and game music is, and anything that touched you.
I want to see
know,
all of the comments.
pause.
I can't believe you forgot about this one.
I'm sure we forgot about a great many,
there's
but
so much good music out there. And
All
I know
right.
I've forgotten something. I'm going to be like,
oh my god, I can't believe we didn't mention Little Big Planet. That's actually one. That's actually one I would mention because Little Big Planet.
Oh,
that soundtrack
really
is-
quickly, I don't remember.
dude,
I don't
shout
remember-
out to the music from Sean's smoke detector.
I was forgetting. Speaking of like vibes in a game, like I don't listen to like the Red Dead soundtrack at all or anything, but that moment in the first Red Dead when you cross into Mexico and that music starts playing is so freaking awesome. Like that's another moment that's just beyond epic, and it fits so perfectly. But yeah, that's all I got. I could talk about music for days and days and days. I mean, I used to do a podcast about music where every single week we talked about music. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I love music. So
All right,
All right.
cool. Are we satisfied, everyone?
I am.
always
All
satisfied. I
right.
just ate a Snickers.
Hey, there you go. I'm about to get something to eat myself, and then edit this video. But yeah, so that's been it. This has been episode number 6 of Games Over Plastic. Thank you, everybody who's watched this. Leave a like, leave a comment. No matter what, though, we appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. Shout out Bucky the Beaver. Final thoughts, guys. Anything else you guys want to say before we head off into the sunset?
No, just listen to great music. Everyone should listen to music. Love music.
All right. Well, that's it then, everybody. Please clap. Episode number 6 is over. We hope you guys have a great day and a great week. Hodge and I will be starting brand new jobs. Sean will be returning back from vacation for his final 8 weeks or whatever before his year is over. So we're on to great things, and we hope you all have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye. Buc-ees is overrated.
Oh.
All right. I can't believe it.